You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Well, do you guys remember almost 25 years ago on ESPN, there was a show called Cold Pizza? Now, Skip Bayless was on that show, but there was also Jay Crawford, Thea Andrews, and Kit Hoover. It was really more of a daytime talk show at that time. There really wasn't any embracing debate during that time. But then that show started changing, and Woody Page was on there with Skip Bayless, and they were actually debating sports. And they started having this segment called First and 10. Things started changing for Cold Pizza. Cold Pizza was on the way out the door because ESPN actually started clipping out the 30-minute segments of the debate between Skip Bayless and Woody Page and made it his own 30-minute show. The writing was on the wall for Cold Pizza. Eventually, ESPN dumped Cold Pizza. Kit Hoover, Thea Andrews, they weren't on the show anymore. But Dana Jacobson and Jay Crawford actually on what became First Take. And now First Take, man, is definitely different from the days of Skip Bayless. Stephen A was actually brought over, and Stephen A is still there on First Take. But guys, there's about to be a big time change on this show. And this could actually be the beginning of the end of First Take. Now, when Skip Bayless was actually on there, guys, with Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless was the Tom Brady defender, and Stephen A. Smith was the Tom Brady hater. Then Skip Bayless leaves, goes to Fox, and Stephen A. becomes the Tom Brady defender, and Matt Kellerman was the Tom Brady hater. Was that very, very authentic? Probably not. Because the format of the show, guys, is pretty much, all right, I'm going to take a stance, you take the opposite. Doesn't seem to be very real. And now the higher-ups at ESPN are catching on. And they're saying, all right, this whole embrace debate thing, we're probably going to end up dropping this whole thing. Fundamentally changing the way people actually view First Take. It could go the Cold Pizza route and be gone. Let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. Here we go. So right over here, off of the announcing right here, a new era in Bristol, ? ESPN is looking to turn the page on embrace debate era. Yeah, this is probably not going to make Stephen A. Smith happy. Probably not. But right here it says, ESPN is trying to distance itself from the studio format that built its daytime lineup for the better part of 2 decades, according to new reporting from Puck's John Oran. At a Bristol town hall this week, newly elevated executive Mike Foss told a room of roughly 100 staffers and talent that he wants the network to, quote, embrace authenticity rather than manufactured conflict. Other words, guys, he wants, he doesn't want any of this. All right, if I take this stance, you got to take the opposite. He wants them to be real. Foss, promoted 2 months ago to executive vice president and executive editor of sports news and entertainment, brought internal research showing ESPN's brand of synthetic debate isn't resonating with viewers the way it used to. He wasn't asking combative personalities to change who they are. Stephen A. Smith wasn't mentioned by name, but nobody in the room needed him to be. The distinction Foss drew was between talent being genuinely combative on their own and producers pairing people up, specifically to manufacture disagreement. In his write-up, Oron pointed to shows like Partner Interruption, where hosts are just as likely to be found agreeing with each other as they are to be closer to what he wants going forward. Awful announcers learned that the meeting itself was a standard monthly gathering. Foss holds regularly, though turnout ran well below normal with football season approaching. Notably, the room included a wave of first-time attendees from NFL Network, because we know they bought NFL Network, and also people got laid off. Now that the dust has settled from the layoffs that hit the group particularly hard, Awful Announcing has also learned that a return to a more highlight-centric sports center came up as a specific example of the kind of show Fox wants, moving away from manufactured debate and towards their authentic individual identities. Wow. So are they saying here that they want First Take now to be more like Sports Center with a different angle? Yeah, if so, First Take is dead. The show will be dead. Wow. I mean, this is some bombshell news here. I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately, but Cold Pizza didn't happen immediately either. It took a few years. And eventually, they got rid of all the other stuff, and it was nothing but debate for 2 hours. Yeah. Wow. Goes on. The strategy ESPN is now trying to move forward from is inseparable from one executive, Jamie Horowitz. He joined ESPN in 2006 as a senior producer and left in 2014 as vice president of original programming and promotion. And in between, he helped create Sports Nation, Olbermann, Numbers Never Lie, and the one that mattered most, First Take. And guess what? All these other things right here, gone. Gone. Of course, Keith Olbermann isn't there anymore. Sports Nation, not there anymore. Numbers Never Lie, not there anymore. Yeah. So, what do you guys make of this, man? This is kind of shocking right here. It may be over for First Take. Maybe in the next year. Maybe in the next 2 years. But based on this right here, yeah, there's going to be some changes. Remember, they changed the whole name of Cold Pizza Votes to First Take. Drop everything besides Embrace Debate. Now they actually want to get rid of debate, pretty much. A more sports center-ish kind of show. Yeah. Can Stephen A actually survive like that? Stephen A is Stephen A. You know, that's part of his personality. Now, in that article, they were saying, yeah, we don't want anybody to actually change their personalities. Pretty much you're saying Stephen A changed your personality. You don't want Stephen A to be Stephen A. Stephen A's been on ESPN, off and on for 20 plus years. And he's always been, loud mouth and everything. That's a part of his personality. If you don't want him being in this combative debate, I don't know how he actually feels about that. Maybe that's why Stephen A actually created his own platform and he has his own straight shooter show, because eventually he knows one day the show's going to be over on First Take. Maybe he knew that. Maybe he was already planning for the end. You guys know that Linda Cohn just left ESPN. She actually has her own platform now on YouTube. I subscribe to her, listen to a few of her episodes. Pretty good stuff. I mean, things have changed, man, over the years now. These are corporate companies. Yeah, I think people are realizing, yeah, we don't really need them. The mainstream media, dying. So, there you have it, guys. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, Let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.